So humanity has a problem. What's the problem? Life is suffering. That's a huge problem. Life is suffering. Every sentient being is either trying to escape suffering or avoid suffering, but we are constantly trying to run away from suffering. Like no matter what we do, we're actually trying to run away from suffering. So that's a huge problem, you know. There's no sentient being that actually wants to suffer. Sometimes we do suffer, but that's because we do not want to suffer. A guy might decide to go to the gym. Working out, that's not easy, right? You know, lifting heavy stuff, that's not easy. But he wants to be in shape. He knows that his life is going to be much easier when he's in shape. So he's trying to avoid suffering. Sometimes the only way to heaven is through hell. Sometimes you have to walk through fire. Not because you want to walk through fire, because, well, you have to. So life is suffering. That's a fact. So if life's suffering and we don't want to suffer, we must try to find a solution. So what's the solution? That's what I'm going to be talking about on this video. Some people might say, no, you sound so certain, Benedict. You can't just say life is suffering. Like, you know how I know the things that I know? Because I don't believe. I want you to understand that I don't believe that life is suffering. I know that life is suffering. I know that life is suffering the same way that I know that 1 + 1 is 2. I've never had a problem when it comes to thinking. Like I think so damn rationally, bro. I'm thinking all the time. I forget stuff. Like I'll forget, you know, like maybe like if I go to a bathroom and brush my teeth, I'll forget my toothpaste. Why? Because I'm always thinking. Like I'm never in the present moment, and that's what I want us to talk about today. But so yeah, I think. So I know that what I know is true the same way that I know that 1 + 1 is 2. The same way that I know that 1 × 1 is 1. I know some people, but I don't know. That's not true. That's actually not true. I mean, so I would say that 1 × 1 is 2. And an action equals a reaction. So, no. It's much more logical to say multiplication is an illusion. Like you could never multiply anything. Like that's what would be more accurate to say. You might say, Benedictine, now you've lost your mind. I'm recording a video right now. If I decided to re-record this video tomorrow, it wouldn't be the same video, right? Even if it was possible to rewind time, what that will mean is that we rewinded time. Me making this video, the way that I'm making it, at the time that I'm making it only happened once. could never happen twice. An action can never happen twice. It can only happen once. So multiplication is an illusion. Even if they make a clone of me, it doesn't mean that there's now, like, multiplication is not an illusion. Like, I know that it means that it's not an illusion because, well, your clone will be like another you. Like, no, that's addition. That's not multiplication. Right? That's addition. To create another me, I would need to be born and experience the same things that I've experienced the way that I've experienced it. That would be the way that they would have created. That would be multiplication, basically. Because to multiply something, it actually has to be as it is, and everything that it has been through, everything that it has experienced, all of that has to be multiplied. You don't just. Let me give you a simple example. I'm drinking Castle Lager, right? If I finish this can and take another can, that will be a different can. When they created these cans, they didn't create this can twice. They created this can once. Right? So that's not multiplication, that's addition. You could never create something twice. You can only create something once. So multiplication is, look, that's not what I want to talk about. It's not what I want to talk about because I don't want to confuse you. So let's go back to what I want to talk about. Okay, life is suffering. That's a fact. I know that it's a fact. If I know that that's a fact. If you don't think that it's a fact, you're not thinking right. You're not honest with yourself. Like, you're lying to yourself about something. Now I want you to get this. Me saying that life is suffering doesn't automatically mean that the experience that you are having is bad. Like, when I make videos talking about us having a bad experience or us being in a hell realm, I'm not saying that because of suffering. Suffering isn't always a bad thing. So even though sometimes I'll mention that there's suffering in this world, but I'm not really saying that suffering itself is the main problem. Even though we want, as a humanity, we want to solve this problem of suffering, but it isn't like the main problem. And in some situations it might not even be a problem. In some situations suffering might not even be a problem. You might suffer because maybe you are doing something wrong and you need to figure out how to do it right, and you stop suffering if you do it right. But in this reality, that's not how things actually work. You might suffer even if you're doing things right, and even if you keep on trying to do things better, you might still suffer. So things have just been set up a certain way, and you have to do certain things to escape suffering. But these things don't necessarily need to be the right things to do. That's why some of the most successful people in this world are people who have been doing things that we all know are wrong. Even those people who are doing these things, like, but this is messed up, but what can I do? I'm just trying to survive. Like, they know. Suffering is not a bug. Suffering is the future. So what do we do? Because we do not want to suffer. Last night when I went to sleep, before I started dreaming, I was thinking about my life. The things that I've been through, how I grew up, things that I'm going through now. It's like, there's no way that I could have Like there's no way that I could have avoided suffering, right? I There's no way. Like no matter what uh I could have done, like there is no way that I could have avoided suffering. When I look at the things that I went through in the first grade, I'm like, there was no way that I could have avoided suffering. There's no way that I could have avoided suffering, because sometimes things just happen. Like you might just be sitting and doing nothing and then something happens, because you don't know the future. Right? It's not like you can see what's gonna happen in 10 minutes and you're like, okay, fine, I'm gonna avoid that. And then you're like, oh, if I sit in this place, this is what's gonna happen. If I say this is what's gonna happen. If I think this thought, this is what's gonna happen. If I write this is what's gonna happen. You don't know. When we do things, we don't know what's gonna happen. Right? We don't know what an action that we take is going to produce, like what kind of results is going to produce. Like you might just hope that, well, if I take this action, something good happens. If I study hard, if you're a student, you know, hopefully I pass, and then in the end I get the kind of job that I want and become successful, or I become educated enough to be able to do my own thing. Like that's what you hope, but it doesn't mean that that's what's gonna happen. You might study hard, you know, and in the end you find that was like a waste of time. Like you could have done something else that would have actually worked for you. So there's no way in a world like this that people can actually avoid suffering indefinitely, unless they learn. Maybe this is not even the ultimate solution, because you'll still suffer, but I think this is like the best way to minimize your suffering. You know, I've been telling y'all that you must practice the art of detachment. Like that's really, really important. Like you must detach yourself from a lot of things that you are attached to, because that's what's causing you suffering. If you learn how to live in the moment, I think automatically you will detach yourself from a lot of things, right? If you learn to live in the moment, automatically you'll detach yourself from a lot of things. You might suffer even if you live in the moment. That's why I said, yeah, you just can't get rid of suffering completely, but if you can master the art of living in the moment. I know what some of you are thinking, that no, it's possible, because some people don't believe that they can escape the hell that they are in, right? I've realized that. Like you could have an idea in your mind, like, okay, I want to do this, and then you start to think of why that is impossible. Like, no, it's impossible, but no. There are so many things that you thought were impossible that actually were possible. You know, you've been in situations where you're like, I can't do this, and you did it. You cannot tell me that in your life, everything that you thought you couldn't do, you didn't do. Like everything, every single thing that you were like, I want to try to do this, you weren't unable to do it. There have been some things in the past where I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna do that. Like I'll be able to do that, but I was able to do that. You know, some of these things. So quiet those voices that are saying, no, you can't live in the moment. What if you were able to live in the moment 100%? Live in the moment, like you focus only on what is happening now. You literally forget about what is happening in other places. You forget about what happened yesterday. Or maybe yesterday something bad happened, but it's not really affecting you today, so you forget about it. So yeah, something bad did happen yesterday, but you forget, or you don't think about it. Like it's kind of like in the background, right? But you're not really thinking about it. You're thinking about the present moment. Yes, there are things that are happening in the world that you know about, but you're like, right now I'm gonna focus on what Benedict Tynes is saying. Yes, my girlfriend, maybe mad at me, or she seemed to be like falling out of love. She no longer treats me the way that she used to, so I'm a stress about it. But no, you decide that no, I'm gonna focus on now, on what is happening now. Imagine if you mastered the art of living in the moment. Only focus on what is happening now. You're not stressing about what someone said about you. You're not stressing about what someone said to you. You're not stressing about your bills. You're not stressing about the afterlife. You are living in the present. Now wait. Living in the present doesn't mean that you don't do the right things. Because remember what I just said. I said you're not focusing in the afterlife. I think if we just live our lives without thinking deeply about things will go horribly wrong, right? So I need to explain myself very clearly. So when you live in the moment, you choose what you want to deal with in that moment. Like, do I want to think about the afterlife? Fine, let me just think about the afterlife, and you chill and you just think about the afterlife. Like, okay, what if in the afterlife we get tricked into coming back here? What would we need to do? Right? You're still living in the moment, but in that moment you've decided that you want to think about the afterlife. Not living in the moment will be like you're just chilling and then you begin to worry about the afterlife. Like you didn't even make a conscious choice to think about the afterlife. You're just chilling and you're like, this sucks. Shit, the afterlife. Damn, what if I come back here? My girlfriend said this. I think I'm sick actually. Like, what's going on? What's this? Maybe I have, maybe I have cancer. Like, you're not living in the present moment. You're just thinking about different things at the same time that are actually making you worried, right? I want you to get that. So living in the present moment doesn't mean that you don't think deeply about things. It means that you consciously choose what to think about and focus on that. See, when you consciously choose what to think about, you suffer less than if you get triggered. You see, most of us just get triggered. Like you're just chilling and a thought comes and it triggers you. Like, my father said this about me. But yeah, that sucks, man. How can you say that? Ish. Then you start to suffer, right? That thought could have just passed. You could have allowed it to pass, because you are in the, like, you are living in the moment. You're not trying to be distracted by anything else. So that thought came. You could have just observed it a little and be like, pew. Like when you're on TikTok and you're doing this, right? A video comes and you're like, that you don't like, and you're like, okay, this is garbage. Pew. This is garbage. Pew. Oh, I would like to watch this. But it would be much better if, when you go on TikTok, most of the time you know exactly what you want to watch, so you search for what you want than to just scroll. But you can have time when you be like, okay, I'm just gonna scroll. So it'll be good that you tell yourself that, okay, now I want to be in the moment. I'm not gonna focus on any thought that comes into my mind. Every thought that comes to my mind, I'm gonna let it pass, because I want to be in the moment. This is what I want to think about. This is what I want to experience, and I want to experience it fully, so that I don't miss anything. So every thought that comes, pew, 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 pew. So imagine if you could go to TikTok and whatever video you see, you're like, okay, maybe I might like this, I might watch it later. It's fine. You can do that. You can have a diary where you write what you want to think about. So a thought comes into your mind and you're like, okay, I might need to think about this later, and then you write in your diary that this is what I want to think about later. But then you focus on what you want to focus on in the present moment. Like, if you can master that, you would suffer a lot less. Like, that's really the best way to minimize your suffering. It's not you always fighting to find yourself in a better situation so that you will suffer less, right? Because what we're doing as humans, we are fighting to find ourselves in a better situation, but that doesn't really help much, really. And that's why there are billionaires who, are not doing that well. Millionaires, some people have everything that you want, but they're not doing well. Why? Ask yourself. Life is suffering, but maybe if you had what they had, you'd cope better. Maybe you'd cope better because you have taught yourself how to minimize your suffering by thinking in a way that kind of like put you in a mental state where you don't experience much suffering. Some people who became very successful have never taught themselves that, because some of you all just had to learn that. I had to learn that. Like, if you don't have a choice, like if you're in prison and you're just suffering, you might figure out how to suffer less in prison, but just thinking a certain way, because you don't have a choice. You don't have control. Some people suffered so much in this world and they couldn't do much, so they had to figure out how to kind of minimize suffering using their own minds. Some people who are successful never figure that out, so they accumulate wealth and then boom, they're still suffering and there isn't much that they can do. There's this song called Higher by Eminem where it's like, what am I supposed to go from here? I mean, I've done it all, It's like you've done everything. You've reached the top. You've experienced things that most people never get to experience. You're lucky enough, but still, you're suffering. What if focusing on the present moment and just forgetting everything else is the answer. Now, this doesn't mean, and because some people might think, no, Benedictine, are you saying that we're not in a hell realm? Because now we found like that might be the solution. No. It doesn't mean that you are in a hell realm. In fact, you figuring out how to focus on the present moment and that actually being better, like that making you feel better shows us that we are in a hell realm. Because if you were not in a hell realm, you'll be able to think about the past and be happy. You'll be able to think about the other things that are going on in your life and be happy, right? So what I'm saying is focus on one problem at a time. Now, I've had some spiritual teachers, new age spiritual teachers saying that the reason why we don't remember our past lives, because they think ethics is school, and some people ask them, why don't we remember our past lives if this is school? And be like, oh, we don't remember our past lives because we've suffered a lot. Imagine if you remember your past lives, you remember all the problems that you've had in the past life. You might have experienced hell in the past life. And I'll be like, that actually proves to me that this is a hell realm. Because that would mean that our life sucked in the past. You understand? Our life sucked so much that we shouldn't even remember these lives. We're like, that whatever is in control is like, nah, these people shouldn't even remember their past lives. No, because if they remember their past lives, they wouldn't even want to experience this because, well, they've went through hell. This reminds me of my favorite episode from Black Mirror, where this other lady was being punished. Just go and watch the episode. I'm not going to tell you everything that happened. I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, this lady was being punished for something that she did. The wipe of her memories completely, maybe not completely, because she'll kind of remember something but not remember like it in detail. So they were punishing her by wiping off her memories, and then creating a situation where she must suffer. Like people are told what to say, what to do. They wouldn't even say anything. Like most of them, some of them, would say something because they're actors. Like, yo, say this to this person, treat them this way, treat them that way, and she wouldn't know what's going on. She would just suffer. Just people are just treating her the way that they're being told that they must treat her, and then in the end, it will be revealed to her that, okay, your experience wasn't like really real like that. It was scripted. Here's why you've done this, so you are being punished for what you did. So this is gonna start again. Like we're gonna wipe off your memories, and then it's gonna start again, and then again and again and again, as a punishment for what you did. See, if she remembered that, okay, this is what happened to me previously, she wouldn't play along, But she plays along because she forgot what happened. I mean, really, if she was having a great experience, why would they wipe off her memories? They would want her to remember her past experiences so that she'll be happy. But damn, my life experience was great. But nah, she's being punished. Like what she's experiencing is negative, so that's why she keeps on forgetting. It's like if you've watched Westworld, those robots in Westworld, their memories will be wiped off. Why? Because, well, they will experience trauma. Like there was this lady, she had a child that would be, and I think the child will be, I don't remember what will happen to. Like I've watched Westworld like maybe in 2017, 2018. But she would lose a child, and a lot of things will be done to her. Like she'll get, I'm not even going to say it, but you know what I was about to say. And then they will wipe off your memories completely, and then everything will start over again. People will go into this place, this where they have like these robots live, and these robots will not be able to harm them, but they'll be able to harm these robots. And then they'll wipe off their memories completely, and they'll forget everything, and then the whole thing start over again. But again, they will, because I don't think you can really wipe off someone's memories completely. And I think that's why some people can remember some things, like you have a deja vu moment in this reality. So she would kind of like remember some things, or she would have dreams about that would seem real and be like, why am I dreaming about that? I have never seen a movie where they will wipe someone memories off for a good reason. Even in Men in Black, like they will wipe people's memories, but not. It's, you might say that's a good reason, so because they saw aliens. No, that's not a good reason. They need to know that there's aliens, right? So even if Will Smith and the other guy thought that they were doing the right thing, still that's not good. They know knowledge is power. They need to know. They're being treated like animals when you think about it. Can you imagine if they're wiping off, like you don't get to know, but they know, like they're better than you. Will Smith is better than all the people in that movie, because he should know, but other people shouldn't know. You know what I mean? Knowledge is power. There shouldn't be people who are like, yeah, we're gonna make sure that people don't get to know the truth because we're trying to protect them. No, you let people know the truth just like you know the truth, and they'll do what they do with the truth. You see, you let people know the truth just like you know the truth, and then you allow them to do what they do with the truth. Rather than deciding that no, you shouldn't know the truth. Only I should know the truth, and I'm going to control what you get to know, like the information that you get to receive. So, mastering the art of living in the moment can actually help you, and that being the solution doesn't mean that we are in a good world and we're doing something wrong. It just means that in a world where you're experiencing a lot of what you do not like, it will actually be much better to live in the moment than to always be thinking about the other things that have happened and you worrying, because some people experience more effed up shit than they experience good shit in this world. So can you imagine if you just think about everything that has happened in your life, and you find that most of the things that have happened like traumatized you, you'd suffer, right? But if you learn to live in the moment, you're like, okay, this is what I'm going through now. This is what I gotta deal with now. I'm gonna forget about the outside world. It is what it is. That's better. That is actually better. So yeah, when I was thinking about what I went through growing up, the problems that I had, I realized that there wasn't much that I could have done except just living in the moment, just not focusing on the negative things that have happened. Because here's the thing: once you focus on the negative things that have happened, it's almost as if you are re-experiencing them. In fact, sometimes you can even feel worse. Like you can experience something, and then you experience it, and then the experience is over, and then you are in a new situation, and then you think about the experience and you feel much worse than you felt when you were having that experience. You know that, like, that can happen. So wouldn't it be better to like focus on the present moment? Like, even if these thoughts come, I know some of these thoughts, like they because of trauma, some of these thoughts like are strong and they are hard to let go of. But I think that is the solution. Like, if you can master the art of being in the present moment, no matter what thought comes into your mind, if you don't want to think about what is coming into your mind, you're like, fuck it, I'm scrolling. Even if it's not easy to scroll, I mean, I'm still gonna scroll, or I'm gonna swipe, whatever. I think that is the best solution, because that also helps you detach yourself from a lot of things, because if you only focus on what's happening in the present moment, you're not thinking about things that you might be attached to. So that's one of the best way to detach yourself. And the more you don't think about the things that you're attached to, the easier it will be for you to detach yourself. You know that? Like you are more attached to the things that you constantly think about. I remember a few months back, I came across a video on TikTok. I was busy scrolling, just like we we do with our thoughts. Just be like, okay, this is what's triggering me, so this is what I'm gonna focus on. So yeah, I was on TikTok busy scrolling, and then I came across a video, and it was about this lady. She was a cop. No, she was not a cop. She was a prison guard. She got involved in a car accident where someone died. She was the one who was wrong, but she was so effed up that they didn't tell her what happened for a few months. Like she was kind of like paralyzed, but it's but the thing, they were able to help her. So they didn't tell her what's going on for a few months until they realized that she's better now. She's recovered the way that she can recover, and then they told her that, oh, you going to jail because yeah, you broke the law. She was like, what? Can you imagine, you go through something terrible like that, and then they break it down, they break it to you that you going to jail after a few months. Like, she forgot what happened because she was in a coma, right? So she forgot what happened, but then she remembered. But they told her what happened and that she must go to jail. If she remembered what happened, she focused on what happened, her recovery might have been much harder. But she didn't remember what happened. She only focused. Now, I'm not saying not remembering is a good thing. I'm saying it will be best to remember everything, to know everything, but then teach yourself to focus on what you are dealing with now. You like, if there's a problem, I'm going to solve it when I should solve it. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Like, I'm not going to ruin my present moment by solving problems that I shouldn't even be solving right now. I must solve these problems when I face them. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. This reminds me of what Charles Manson used to say. Now, there's something that I've realized about some humans, and that like really scared me. Some humans will hate you because of what. Okay, it's fine. You can hate a person because of what they did, but they will hate your message because of what you did, even if your message makes sense. So yeah, you can hate a person because of what they did, but they can say something that actually makes sense. They can say something that most people that you admire are not saying, and that actually makes sense. So you mustn't be like, well, just because someone has done something bad, it means that everything that they say isn't true. It's the same thing with arcade, like the arcade situation. I think they removed this music in some platforms, but when you think deeply about it, like, his music is different. Like, that's another aspect of him. So the aspect of him that we hate isn't the aspect of him that kind of like made that, you know what I mean? It's like, some people are like, I'm not going to play his music, but we love his music. His music is good. That's what we love about him. We love that he makes great music. We hate that he did what he did, but we love the fact that he makes great music. So does it mean that we must not play his music? Like, I'm not playing your music because of what you did. Like, I love your music. Your music is good. That's what I'm benefiting from you. So I mustn't be like, I'm not going to benefit anything from you just because of what you did. I hate that you did what you did, and I'm not going to love that. Like, there's no way that I'm going to love that, but I'm going to love your music. So it's the same thing with Charles. Charles was effed up in some ways, but he was very intelligent. So yeah, there's this other video where he was being interviewed. He said something like, you know, the only thing that's real is the present moment. I remember they tried to do this like there's this TV series called Mindhunters. They tried to create that moment when he was being interviewed. This guy, tried to interview, like in Mindhunters, they're actually looking for serial killers, and they're interviewing them to understand them better, because they were detectives who were dealing with serial killers, so they'll try to understand serial killers better. So they interviewed Charles Manson. The guy that was playing Charles Manson killed it. I remember they started to ask him some questions, and he said something like, my truth is simple. Your truth is complicated. The only thing that's real is now. Now is the only thing that's real. And I thought that was brilliant, because that is true. And they did say that in real life, that the only thing that's real is now, like the present moment. That's what's real. And that is, like, it's true on every level. The only thing that is real is now. You watching this video now, that's what's real. Me making this video now, that's what's real. When I go back into my room and start editing this video, that's a different thing. That's, what will be real will be the experience that I'll be having when I'm editing the video. But me recording the video now, that's what's real. What I'm saying now, that is what's real now. You know what I mean? So you must think, you must think that way. Realize that what's real is the present moment. And train yourself to always think that way. Because to really free yourself, you must unprogram your mind. Your mind has been programmed in such a way that you just have to stress. You know what I mean? Like, since we were little kids, like, we weren't supposed to live in the moment. We were always given problems, different problems. You know what I mean? That it became impossible for us to live in the present moment. I had to give you a lot of work at school. You're like, I can't even live in the present moment, bro. Like, I got work. Like, I got a lot of homework. Like, what do? I can't even play with other kids now. I'm thinking about my homework. You know what I mean? Like, they gave us too many things to do that we couldn't live in the present moment. We found ourselves worried. So we didn't learn how to live in the present moment. So try to live in the present. And even if things like, let's say something happens now, a few seconds have passed since I said that, let's say something happens now. So you can focus on what is happening at this time than, what happened that time. Like, you need to master the art of being in the moment, that you are able to do that. Because you do really suffer a lot, because there are a lot, like, you always try to, like, focus on everything at once, and life life just sucks, bro. Like whether we like it or not, it just sucks. And just like I told you in the previous video that I uploaded, none of it is your fault. None of it is your fault. I remember I came across a comment of someone saying, you said that we are God. So what do you mean that none of it is our fault? Because if we're God, it has to be our fault, right? But no. Consciousness can fall into a state of like insanity where it doesn't even understand itself, right? So it doesn't mean like if you went insane, like if you went crazy right now and you started doing things that don't make sense, is it your fault? No. So we must know that consciousness does fall into like insanity. Consciousness does fall into a state of oblivion. It does forget everything and not even know what it's doing. So that's what you must realize. Remember someone said you in some of the videos you say that we are we must do this, we must do that in order to wake up. But now in this video you say we don't know what we're doing. So there's a contradiction. It's not a contradiction at all. Not even close. It's not a contradiction. What you must understand about my videos is that I make these videos for different people. That's the first thing that you must understand. But also I make these videos from different perspectives, right? These are my perspective. All of them are my perspective. But then you can be in a you can be in a situation where you're focusing on everything being real. So I make a song based on that perspective. You can be in a situation where you're not in the present moment. So I'm giving you an advice here. I'm saying be in the present moment. But you can be in a situation where you're not in the present moment. I can make a video where I'm talking about you not being in the present moment and what you need to do. That doesn't mean that I'm contradicting what I've said. So I'm making videos from different perspectives. I'm not going to tell you the highest truth in every video. In some videos, I'm going to be telling you to focus on something that's like if I make a video and I say, if you I'm not going to make a video talking about this, but if I made a video and said, well, if you want to study and pass your test, here's what you must do and all that. And then I'll make another video and say school is BS. You might say that's a contradiction because you made a video talking about how to pass. No. There are some people who want to go to school, and I'm not saying people shouldn't go to school. I'm not saying people shouldn't, be educated. What I mean. Like people are different. They don't want the same things. So I'm explaining things in different I'm explaining things from different perspectives. Like if I had this perspective, this is what I would do. This will be the solutions to the problems that I have if I had this kind of perspective. I can make a video, even though I don't want to get married. I can make a video talking about how to make a marriage work. But that wouldn't mean that I would get married, or I think marriage is like getting married is the best idea. But some people do want to get married. So how do you make it work? And I'll tell you what I think. Even if I've never been married, I could have some great insights that could help people who are married. So I could never contradict myself. Like it's not gonna happen on this channel. But try to learn to focus on the present moment. One of the reasons why I drink when I'm making videos, even if like I'm not like drinking that day. I mean, today is Friday, so yeah, it's going down. But sometimes I'm not like really gonna drink the whole day. I'm gonna have like 1 or 2 drinks and I'll be alright. I want to be in the present. right? I want to be in the present. I want to focus on what's happening now. I want to focus on what I'm telling you. I don't want to think about other things. And alcohol does help me forget about other things and only focus on the present moment. So that is why I drink. But when I'm doing like my walk and talks, like when I'm working, I'm able to focus on the present moment somehow. But I'm learning. Even like when I'm just sitting down in one place, I can focus on the present moment. But alcohol does make it a bit easier. So I'm like, uh, there isn't much harm really in drinking. So whatever. And this is coming from a person who struggles to live in the present moment. I know that being in the present moment, like, it really does help because sometimes I'm able to be in the present moment. I'm a person who fails most of the time to be in the present moment, but sometimes I'm able to be in the present moment. Like I'm a thinker, so my mind wanders around. But once I catch myself, thinking and not like really being in control, I do ground myself and be like, okay, this is what I want to think about. I don't want to think about things that are ain't gonna like help me now in the present moment. This is the problem that I have. This is what I gotta focus on. So yes, living in the present moment is better than letting everything affect you. Even things that are not supposed to be affecting you in the present affect you. Thank you all, guys.